Once upon a time, there was young man. He was kind-hearted but deeply troubled. His business was failing, his health was failing, and he felt lost and without direction. Despite all his efforts, nothing seemed to work, leaving him frustrated and defeated. Desperate for guidance, young man decided to visit a wise Zen master who lived in the monastery in the village. One morning, young man goes to the monastery to meet the monk. As he arrived, he saw the master meditating under the tree. Bowing respectfully, young man greeted the monk with a warm smile. "Master," young man began, "my life is filled with problems. My business is failing, my health is also failing, and I feel completely lost. I've tried everything, but nothing seems to work. What should I do? Give solution to me." The monk listened attentively. Young man spoke. After a young man spoke, the monk responded, "Before I give you an answer, you have to do one favor for me. Near our monastery, many ants live, and they weaken the soil. I want you to destroy their ant hills within a few days, but you must not harm the ants." Young man was confused by the request but trusted the master's wisdom. He bowed in agreement and accepted the challenge. The next morning, young man went to near the monastery. He saw numerous ant hills scattered across the grounds. Carefully, he began dismantling the mounds, making sure not to harm any of the ants. By the end of the day, all the ant hills were destroyed, and young man returned home feeling satisfied. But when he arrived at the monastery the following day, he was surprised to see that the ants had rebuilt their homes overnight. Determined, young man once again destroyed the ant hills, being even more cautious not to harm the ants. For several days, young man continued this cycle, but each morning, the ants would rebuild. On the fifth day, while carefully dismantling one of the ant hills, young man accidentally killed a few ants. He felt a deep sense of guilt and sadness. That night, unable to sleep, he reflected on the harm he had caused. The next morning, young man brought small pieces of fruit and bread to the ants as a gesture of apology. He placed the food near their homes before carefully dismantling the hills again. For the next 2 days, young man continued to bring food to the ants while carrying out his task. On the 7th day, he returned to the Zen master. "Master," young man said, bowing deeply, "I have failed. I couldn't destroy the ants' homes without harming them. Despite my efforts, I killed some ants. I tried to make up for it by bringing them food, but I couldn't complete the task as you asked." The monk smiled kindly and said, "You've learned 2 important lessons. First, the ants have shown you the value of consistency. No matter how many times their homes were destroyed, they rebuilt them without hesitation. Life will often knock you down, but you must keep rising and trying again, just like the ants." Young man listened closely, absorbing the master's wisdom. Second, the master continued, "You've learned the importance of compassion. Even when you made mistakes, you sought to make amends by showing kindness to the ants. In life, you will make mistakes, but what truly matters is how you respond. Responding with compassion and care is a sign of true strength and character." Remember, young man, the master concluded, every problem has a solution, and every challenge can be overcome with determination and kindness. Persist in the face of adversity, and never forget the power of compassion. If we see in our life, we often face challenges that seem insurmountable, just like the young man who struggled against the ants. In those moments of despair, we might feel tempted to give up, believing that our efforts are futile. But the story teaches us that persistence is key. Even when we encounter setbacks, we can learn from our experiences and rise again. Every obstacle we encounter can lead to growth, and every mistake can become a stepping stone toward wisdom. Embracing kindness in our actions, especially when we falter, strengthens our character and helps us connect with others. So, when life feels overwhelming, remember the lessons of persistence and compassion. Keep moving forward, learn from your challenges, and show kindness to yourself and those around you. In doing so, you not only overcome your struggles but also inspire others to do the same. Life's greatest victories often come from the most difficult battles, and through determination and compassion, you can find your path to fulfillment and success.